The comic fans are the best. They're kind, they want to have fun, they love things, they have appreciation. These are all great qualities in human beings, you know.
Hi, I'm Minette Seat, senior producer here at WQED, and if you have a passion for comics and all things that are fun, including documentaries, you are in the right place at the right time. We're going to see tonight, if you've seen a little bit of it already, Comics Beyond the Comic Book Pages. It's a fully pumped up, filled documentary full of all kinds of great inside stories about the world of comic books. And this lovely man to my left is Michael Valentine. He is the writer, producer, and director of this documentary, and he had such an amazing time making it. We've been talking about all kinds of comic book stories and our personal experiences sharing the world of comics, but you're here, so I'm going to let you talk. Michael, welcome to Pittsburgh.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, and thank you for having me on the show.
Well, I wondered, what was your inspiration? Obviously, you have a love of comics. How did that translate into a movie?
Well, first thing is the segment you guys just saw, when you hear people talk about how passionate they are about comic books, that kind of is something that really got me into comic books and got me into making this film. So when I was a kid, I loved comic books, and I loved making documentaries and films. I always loved the process. So I wanted to do something where I took both those worlds and put them together. And I wanted to do something that was really fun and something that wasn't just a history lesson, but was something people would really like and be influenced and inspired by.
One of the things that we watched the film before you got here, before we got started tonight, it's a perfect combination of the insiders and the experts and the old heads who made comics possible, but it's also got this great spin on the independent nature of comic books and comic book fandom, and how you glommed all those together is really very interesting.
Thank you. It was kind of something that was planned. I didn't want it to just be about one person or about one publisher. People know Marvel and DC, and there's characters, Superman, Spider-Man, but I wanted it to be about that whole world of this comic book world, from the Stan Lee down to the fan who dresses in costumes and goes to the conventions, and every single one of these people are just so important.
So the fans, they make up so much of it. I mean, there'd be no comic books without them. But the participation and the way that things like Comic-Con have grown over the years, can you speak a little bit to that? Because we have something here called Anthrocon, and the furries come, and it started off as this really small thing, but it's turned into this beautiful, giant, citywide celebration of all things that are different and strange and wonderful and that draw people together. And Comic-Con seems like the same kind of a thing.
Comic-Con is an awesome experience. I had so much fun going, and if people have not gone, they should go. If they get to San Diego, get to New York, or go to the local ones, support these, because they are so important to this industry. It's the way that these fans can interact.
Well, I have a million questions I'm going to ask you before the night is over, but I'm going to toss it to Molly because we do actually have to do a little business tonight.
Okay.
Thanks so much, guys. Michael, it's so great to have you here to talk about comics beyond the comic book pages. I'm Molly Held, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the thank you gifts that we have for you today. We have this 2 DVD set. You can own this DVD and add it to your collection for $6 a month, a $72 annual gift for a mere $6 a month, less than a cup of coffee. You could bring home this 2 DVD set and the signed poster. Michael signed the poster. This is an exclusive poster to the movie. And so these 2 things are just very exclusive gifts that you can add to your collection with any of the comic books that you may have. The great thing about this DVD is that there is a little comic book inside that is unique, and there's tons of bonus footage, history and insights and influences and outtakes. All of that, along with the documentary, is on the first DVD. The second DVD, disc 2, has the entire interview with Stan Lee, the entire interview with Frank Miller. So it's about, all in total, 4 hours of bonus footage. I mean, it's such a great piece of memorabilia to have to add to your collection. We also have, for $8 a month, you can get the DVD, but you can also get this very special gift, a unique print by an artist who signed this print, and it was made especially for this documentary. So no one else in the world owns this. You can own this. This is an exclusive piece, and it is signed by the artist, and it can be yours becoming a sustainer, $8 a month or a $96 annual gift. And then we also have another print that is super unique by Neil Q. And it's also at $8 a month or a $96 annual gift. There's a great package as well that we have, and I'm going to toss it to Minette and Michael so they can tell you a little more about how special this is.
I want to tell everybody, Michael, about the big, giant, special bonus package thank you gift, but I wanted you to kind of explain this print. Let me know, Frank, if I'm holding it the right way. There's some amazing personalities from the world of comics in this print. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, first of all, it's almost like a dream come true to be able to have made this movie and to have met so many amazing creative people. And not only are they creative, but they're just really true human beings. And I'm hoping that the movie kind of shows not just the comic book side, but it translates to the human side that we all have, right? And so this poster really was special for me because the artist who painted the original movie poster for the film, his name's Paul Lemgenko. I told him I wanted something unique for the PBS broadcast. And I said, I want something, with a lot of the guys that I interviewed in it, but I don't want it serious. I want it fun because the film is fun, right? So he made this great piece of art, and it's me, I'm just this normal guy, right? I'm the normal comic book fan. And if you look, there's my Spider-Man outfit from when I was a little kid. I still have it.
And that's Stan Lee there in the middle, isn't it?
Yes, Stan Lee is in there, Frank Miller, Neil Adams, John Romita Jr., Amanda Connor. So I wanted him to do a kind of a caricature of a lot of the people in it. And I told him, I said, even put a little bit of an ink bottle in there.
Yeah, you see Iron Man's helmet in there, and you see all kinds of great action figures. This is such it's very, very unique, and it's something you won't find anywhere else, and it's there for only $8 a month. So you get the great DVD of comics beyond the comic book pages, and you get this wonderful signed print. And we also have, we keep calling it the big giant thank you package, but there's a big giant thank you package. And for $20 a month, you get the 2 DVD set, you get the signed poster, and you get a choice of one of 3 specially commissioned signed comic books. They are so very, very cool. There's a Champions, there's a Spectacular Spider-Man, and there's an all-new, all different Avengers. When you call, you can find out which one you can get. You won't get all of them, you'll get one of them, but they are special edition, also signed. It's like a bunch of really great stuff. You don't even have to leave the house to get this. How good is that you don't have to leave the house? So call the number on the bottom of your screen and get some really great loot. Molly?
So yeah, it's such a great package. There's so many great things. Thanks to New Dimensions Comics that were able to actually donate these comics to us. This is such an amazing gift. As you can see, it's kind of hard to see here, but there is a little certificate that's kind of showing you the authenticity. It is signed by Mark Wade, which is unbelievable. And all this can be yours. There's so much coming up. I hope you'll stay with us. I can't wait for you to see the rest of the show. Thanks so much.
Frank Miller is a genius. I mean,
It's all about the love for the character.
I just want to say, don't be afraid to cosplay your favorite character, no matter how dorky they are. Just look at us. Thank you.
But even if you are an outcast and you're the only one in your group that you hang out with dressing up, you come here, everybody welcomes everybody.
Wow, thanks so much for being with us. Hi, everybody. My name is Molly Held, and I'm here with the producer, writer, director of Comics Beyond the Comic Book Pages. Thanks so much for being with us, Michael. Welcome to Pittsburgh.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be in Pittsburgh and at this studio. Legendary QED.
Well, we're excited. We're glad that you were able to get a Mr. Rogers picture in the Mr. Rogers studio. So
I'm
we're
a
all
geek.
fans.
What can I say?
We're all
Awesome.
fans. We all do it. So you're not alone, and we live here, so that's okay. There's so much to cover in this segment because I think there were just so many. I know you will all agree. So many interesting facts, but what I really love is the Frank Miller story, and it's just such a great life lesson. So can you tell me a little bit about kind of how you came across that story?
Sure. Well, I interviewed Frank. I went to New York. I flew to New York for one day just to interview Frank Miller. And he started telling me about his run-in with Neil Adams. I had to go and interview Neil at that point, and get his side of the story.
Right.
So when my editor and I put that piece together, we were like, I wanted that part to be fun because, this film is not just information. I really wanted to make it fun. I wanted to give people so many different things to have and to savor and to chew on, right?
Right.
And so that was just unexpected.
Well, I love it, and I really think that what I love about the movie is that, especially in this segment, I'm starting to see the draw of comics because I'm someone who didn't grow up watching comics, but I did grow up watching movies about comics, and so this is where those dots started being connected for me. So I really love to see that part happen.
And I felt too that was important. For a documentary like this to be successful, you have to kind of cross, if you will, from the movies to the comic books. And a lot of people watch the movies and then they go home, they go, oh, that was really good, but they don't always know that, hey, there was a comic book made from that, and who made that, who was a part of that. And so for me, it was really important to kind of give people that behind the scenes of, hey, I liked Sin City, or I liked Batman, or the Batman Dark Knight especially, but now I really understand how that came to be. Who are those people behind? Someone in the film says it's the icons behind the iconic characters.
It's so awesome. And you know what? There's so much more to talk about, but before we go any further, I really want to toss it over to Minette Seat, who's with us tonight. She's going to tell you a lot about our thank you gifts.
Okay. I first have to tell you about my Frank Miller story. The very first Frank Miller comic I ever got was my friend got me a hardcover Elektra the Assassin for one of my birthday presents. And I thought oh, it's Elektra, it's Daredevil's girlfriend though. But I open it up and it's this weird illustration style. It's almost like a Japanese woodcut. I'm like, who is this man? Why is he doing this? But then he reinvented the Dark Knight. He did all this stuff. He did Sin City, and it's just, he has this crazy brain. And he just changed the way people look at comics and the way comics are written. So that's my Frank Miller story. On with the show. There's some great premiums that you can get that are associated with our lovely Comics Beyond the Comic Book pages. The first is the 2 DVD set and signed poster. Now that's the actual poster that accompanies the film, but the 2 DVD set has the entire show you're watching tonight, as well as this blockbuster loaded bunch of extras crammed onto the other DVD. So when you shake it and you hear it rattling, that's because there's 2 DVDs in there. And that's only $6 a month for an annual gift of $72. There's also other gifts. We have the 2 DVD set plus a signed Paul Limginko, and that's not easy to say print, but it's this gorgeous kind of green kind of textured thing that's got all of the principles from the documentary in there, hanging out with Mark. He's got his little microphone, his little Spider-Man outfit on the back of his chair, and you get that, and it's signed, and you get that for only $8 a month, $96 for an annual gift. You can't even get a hamburger for $8 a month, so why don't you please come ahead and join? And then there's an alternate thing you can also get. This is a different poster, Neil Q. This is also kind of plays homage to the film that we're watching tonight, and you see that lovely lady with the sword, and she's like guarding like the back of Neil's chair. That's also signed. That's $8 monthly for a $96 annual gift. And then we have the great big super deluxe package, which is the 2 DVD set with the signed poster and a signed special edition comic book. There are 3 special edition comic books. They are different titles. You don't get all of them. You have to choose which one you want, but they're signed and there's a certificate of authenticity. If you're a comics fan, if you're a comics movie fan, if you have somebody in your house who loves this kind of stuff, you can make them so happy and seem like you are so cool you won't even know what to do with yourself. So call the number on your screen, get one of these great thank you gifts, and I'm going to throw you back over to Molly and Michael. What are you guys doing?
So, you know what? We actually, I love the story of the Neil Q print that is available in the $96 package. How did this print come about?
Well, first of all, I'm geeking out about these comics real quickly. Signed by Mark Waid. If you guys don't know who that is, you will when you watch this movie. He's one of the greatest writers in comics, so I'm just geeking out myself on that. I might have to get one of these packages. This piece of art here is pretty cool because There is that section where Frank Miller is talking about, you know, going to Neil Adams' studio and approaching him. And Neil's talking about, you know, his daughter Chris. He had Chris always at the front, you know, making sure that none of these, you know, riffraff come through the studio. I didn't have a way to show that. I couldn't go back in time. I wish I had been a fly on the wall. That would have been awesome. But so I had an artist, his name's Neil Q, make me a piece of art that was just, and it's the only original piece of art in the film that I had made. And I told him exactly what I wanted. I wanted Neil sitting at his, you know, at his desk doing art, but with his back turned. I wanted Frank Miller coming in with all his, you know, scripts and his stories, and I wanted his daughter Chris to be in like a soldier, you know, with a sword, just like you would kind of think. He put that together, and I think it came out great. And so I told him, I said, you know, we're doing something for PBS, and I would love to give that as a special gift, and you could sign it.
It's so fantastic, and it's something that only our viewers are able to get. So please give us a call right now. Call the number on your screen. Take advantage of one of these awesome gifts. Another thing that we kind of wanted to touch on quickly, we're running out of time here, but the 2 DVD set. So there's so much bonus footage on these 2 DVD sets. Did you say the full interviews, right? With
Stan Lee and Frank Miller, yes.
Fantastic. Yes. That's 4 hours, did you say, of bonus footage?
Almost 4 hours. And the thing is that for me, it was important to have, you know, the fans, the pure fans. This DVD is really for you guys because it not only has the movie. You know, people who love graphic novels, they want one of these, they put into their shelf. So this has all that.
Awesome.
And then it has all the entire Stan Lee and Frank Miller interview.
Thank you so much.
Comics is a collaborative medium. It's a visual.
Page and basically was giving his entire week up to draw that one page and put the week behind schedule. You don't want to be the guy that let that lettering balloon mistake occur. So everything has to be tight and on par with each other.
Hi, I'm Minette Seat, and thank you for coming back with us for Comics Beyond the Comic Book Pages. I'm here in the studio at WQED with Michael Valentine, the writer, producer, director of the film you've been watching tonight. He's being very modest because there's so much stuff in this film, and I can't even imagine how you got all these people to sit still and talk to you because, you know, when you call people up and say, I'm making a movie, they're usually like, oh, I'm not really home, and they hang up. But you did an amazing job, and so now you've gotten into the process, the actual process of how a comic book comes together, and there are so many layers. I don't think people are aware of all the different craftsmen and women who make a comic possible. Tell me a little bit about all that stuff.
Well, you know, that's a really actually fascinating part of comic books, and taking someone's story that's in their head and transferring that down to visual, right? So I wanted to make sure in the film that people understood that process. So it starts with a guy who comes up with a story in his head, right? And he writes the story, and then he finds an artist, and you got to find the right artist. You can't just find any artist to be able to give the style that you need. So I wanted to make sure people understood that, you know, a guy comes up with a story, a penciler pencils the comic books, and then once it's penciled, it gets approved, then an inker comes in and basically inks it. He traces it, and then once that's done, he erases all those pencils. The original penciling is erased, and then they color it. And so I thought that was a really fascinating part of the process, and I wanted people to see that.
I like the young woman who was like, I have the best job in the world. I have like the world's biggest adult coloring book. It's just like, I felt like the exact same way. So, man, I'd love to do that.
I loved it too, and you know, you could see their excitement in her eyes, right?
Yeah,
she's like great. A little kid, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important.
All right, somebody else with excitement in their eyes is the lovely Molly Held. Molly.
Yeah. I am so excited, and I absolutely love that segment. We have a 2 DVD set with a signed poster. This poster is unique to WQED. You can only get it here. It's signed by Michael Valentine, who's here with us in the studio, and it's got a great story behind it, which he'll kind of tell us a little bit about later. But this 2 DVD set for $6 a month at a sustaining membership, or $72 annual gift. There's so much bonus footage, 4 hours of bonus footage, a full interview with Stan Lee, a full interview with Frank Miller, tons of other behind the scenes history and insights and influences and everything like that. You're gonna love it and you'll want to add it to your collection. Call the number on your screen right now. We also, with a 2 DVD set, we also have a different signed poster, and this is a print by Paul Lemgenko. He made this especially for this documentary, and you can't get it anywhere else but here. So $8 as a monthly sustainer or a $96 annual gift. Call the number on your screen. The Neil Q print is also unique to this documentary. As we were talking about a little bit earlier, if you saw us with the Frank Miller and Neil Adams story, it's kind of depicting that whole story and how Neil Adams just kind of turned his back on Frank Miller for a really long time until he finally proved himself. So he was completely wrong about his talent. So $8 as a monthly sustainer, $96 annual gift. And then we have a fantastic, super unique package where you can pledge for the 2 DVD set, the signed poster signed by Michael Valentine, and then a comic book that is it's a sleeve. It has its original certificate. There's some that are signed by Mark Waid. There's 3 different kinds. You can talk to our volunteers. They're waiting to take your call and tell you all about these fantastic thank you gifts. So give us a call right now.
We were talking earlier, Michael, when we were in Green Room, we were talking about the way comics have changed and shaped popular culture. I mean, when I was younger, I remember getting my Swamp Thing, like going to the comic book store, getting my Swamp Thing and getting my Uncanny X-Men, and like they were mine. But now comics culture is everywhere. And did you ever expect things to change the way that they have?
Well, I'm actually, I'm really happy that it's changed. I mean, I think comic books are as big of a part of pop culture as music or anything. You look back in newspapers in the 20s and 30s, and where that kind of came from, and it kind of went from there. And everybody needs a superhero. Everybody needs a hero in their life. So whether you were into Uncanny X-Men or Superman or even the independent creators, I think there's comic books for everybody out there.
Yeah, because I did kind of switch up after a while. I mean, in the 80s, I was totally into the whole Fantagraphics thing with Love and Rockets. And
Love and Rockets. Yeah,
and then I was in I did this whole Flaming Carrot phase I went through. I used to have those boxes in my house. But we wanted to talk about the special package, the special big extra deluxe, because this is right up your alley. You helped pull this all together, all the special items that are in this special $20 a month, $240 annual gift package, and it's stuff you just won't get anywhere else. There's your wonderful film, a 2 DVD set, and it comes with a special comic book inside the box, as well as a second DVD loaded with extras. You hold that one.
Okay.
And then we've got this specially commissioned, this is so great, this is the signed special poster to commemorate the film. It's got this great little kid. Where's the origin story on this poster?
This is actually a great story. So, I hired Paul Lemgenko to make the movie poster, but I really wanted to make it fun, and I wanted people to see a lot of the people in it. But the little boy represents a lot of us when we were little and our discovery of comic books. And we just were glued on it, right? So I wanted him to capture that. And, I made sure the little boy had a cape, because when we were young, we had capes. And we would wear, or a sheet, right? Or a towel, whatever it was.
Whatever your mom didn't catch you with.
Exactly. And even the comic book he's reading is a unique comic book. It's actually the comic book and the DVD. And the great thing about the DVD is that when people buy a comic book, they want to have something unique that they can put in their collection. And I wanted to make the DVD kind of like that for a DVD. I didn't want it just to make, here's the DVD. So I wanted to make it something that people are going to buy, fans, and they're going to put in their collection. They're always going to pull out when they feel like, man, I want to be inspired,
Yeah.
And so I made sure that it had all this really cool stuff that you could only buy there. It's like a unique comic book.
All right. Well, I love the DVD, and I love all the stuff that you get with it. So when you call the number on the bottom of your screen, we will be happy to send all of these things whistling your way. It's WQED. What can I tell you? We're always putting something on the air that you're not used to seeing, whether it's music, whether it's bands, whether it's a comic book film. It's what we do here. And so Molly, who is the queen of all these pledge programs, and I have to thank you so much for inviting me to do this evening. Take us out of here.
Oh, I'm so excited that you guys are here today. And we're having such a great night. There's so much more of the program to come, so please stay with us. But let me just run through very quickly the 2 DVD set at a $6 a month sustainer, the 2 DVD set with the print at $8 a month, 2 different kinds of prints. Just talk to our volunteers. They're here to talk with you and help you through and make your pledge of support to WQED. So we're so excited that you're here, and stay with us. There's so much show that is coming up that you're not gonna want to miss.
I started the store and would have especially thankful to the fans, because if they didn't support what I do, I couldn't do that.
So yeah, don't let anyone tell you can't do it, because anybody can do it. I mean, look at me, I'm doing it.
Oh my goodness, I know that we're starting to come to an end here, but there is still some great footage for you to check out. So don't go anywhere. I'm Molly Held. I'm here with the writer, producer, director of comics, Michael Valentine. Michael, thanks so much for being with us. This is such a great show. We're having such a great night.
Thank you for having me, and hey, Pittsburgh, I love you guys.
So you're here from LA, right? So got to check out a little bit of the sights today?
Yeah, and go Steelers.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Got a little shout out there. That's exciting. So, you know what? It's been so great having you here. And kind of the last thing that we kind of touched on was what's the future of the comic books? I mean, what can we expect from comics going forward from here?
Well, you know, people, nowadays all the bookstores are closing, I mean, everything's on Amazon, and people read stuff on their phones or their tablets. But comic books is valid, and it will never go away. People always want something to put in their hands and to read. And so I think the future is bright. And, ask me what I think the future is. I think it's going to be around forever. But I wanted to make sure in the movie that people heard from Stan Lee and Frank what they thought, So I think the future is bright. That's so great to hear. And I know the fans, comic book fans out there are excited to hear that. And I do really want to touch on the package that we have for our members right now. This $20 monthly membership, $240 annual gift. You get this fantastic DVD of the program that you're watching this evening, plus 4 hours of bonus footage, the signed poster by Michael Valentine himself, who's here with us today, which was specially commissioned for this documentary. And then I think the one thing that's really interesting is that one of these 3 comic books. And what's so special about these comic books that have been donated from New Dimensions Comics? Well, I think one of the things is having Mark Waid sign these. Mark Waid, again, is one of the top writers in comics of all time. I mean, he's written one of the best-selling comic books, if not the most-selling comic book, called Kingdom Come. And that's pretty amazing. And if you go to conventions and you want to get your comic book signed by someone like Mark, you may spend hours waiting in line. Right, and so he was nice enough, and New Dimension Comic Store was nice enough to donate that. And Mark is a super guy, and that's the one thing. Everybody in this film are not only talented, but they're just super great human beings.
Wow, that's so fantastic to hear. So make your pledge of support right now. Call the number on your screen, and Manette has some fantastic other thank you gifts to talk about, right, Min?
Yeah, we have all kinds of really cool stuff. One of the elements in this are these comic books. They're donated by New Dimension, but they're also very, very special, and you get to choose one of them. So for this $20 a month package, you get the double DVD set of Comics, the film we're seeing tonight, Comics Beyond the Comic Book Pages. You get this specially autographed and signed poster, the movie poster officially that accompanies the film, and you get your choice of one of these 3 great comic books. If you went to a Comic-Con, if you went to a signing event, you'd have to stand in line for a pretty long time to get a top writer like Mark to sign your own book and take it home with you. We've got it right here as a thank you gift, and you can choose whichever one you want. When you call, you get your operator on the phone, and you can say, so there's an Avengers, there's a Spider-Man, and there's a Champion. So these are 3 really great top titles. What you want in your home. If you're like a lot of collectors, you might take it home and like leave it in a little plastic sleeve. That's okay. That's none of our business. But this is here to be enjoyed. There's hours and hours of footage on the DVD. There's so many interviews, and you just can't cram it all in one place. You can't fit it all in one film. That's why he's made this DVD the way that he has. There's a whole bunch of extras. So all those full-length conversations, every little nook and cranny of what's going on in Frank Miller's psyche, everything that Stan Lee wanted to share about the early days of the comic books code, it's there on this DVD. So if you want to just sit at home, make your popcorn, and geek out over the world of comics, this is the way to do it. Call the number on the bottom of your screen. We've got great thank you gifts. I also like to think of this documentary as like a bridge. If your whole world of comic books is just the Avengers movies and just Iron Man, this will take you back to the origin stories. Now you know how all this stuff works. Don't miss your chance for a good education. That's what my mother says. Get the 2 DVD set and a signed poster for only $6 a month. That's an annual gift of $72. You can get the 2 DVD set and the Paul Limgenko print for $8 a month. That's a $96 annual gift. Or the Neo Q print with his daughter standing guard in front of Neil Adams so nobody can come in and interrupt his flow, or the great big giant special package. They're all here for you. They're our way of saying thank you, our way of saying, don't you just love the programming we bring you on WQED? I'm going to throw it back over to Molly and Michael.
Michael, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
I love that one of the things about the 2 DVD set is that there's so much bonus footage, and there's so much opportunity to learn more about this culture. How did you end up with all of that bonus footage?
What I wanted to make sure I did is to give the fans what I experienced, and the things that you didn't see in the movie, that same experience that I had being there in the room interviewing these people, you know. I hope that the people who watch it get as much joy and pleasure as I had making it.
I know that they will. I know I did. I know Minette, we talked about it earlier in the day today. We absolutely loved it. And we're gonna take a look one more time at this fantastic $20 sustaining membership, or for a $240 annual gift, you get the package that we cannot stop talking about. It's the 2 DVD set, it's the signed poster, and one of these 3 fantastic limited edition comic books that have been signed by Mark Waid. I mean, we were talking earlier, Michael, and you were saying, you'd wait in line for what, 2 hours, 3 hours?
On a good day.
Yeah, to have him sign one of these. It's already packaged up for you. It's in perfect condition. You have
a stamp of authenticity in there.
Yeah, and there's just no reason that that you have to stand in line. All you have to do is call WQED right now. Call the number on your screen and vote with your dollars. Tell us that you love programming like this and that WQED is important to you.
Do you kind of feel like you're kind of carrying on a tradition when you do something like this, like you're spreading the gospel of comics to people?
I hope so. You know, one of my goals was to get people who may not really be into comics to watch it too. It's for the hardcore fans, but it's for people who may have, like you said, seen the movies but don't really know about the characters. This is for them. This is for those types of people. It's for all audiences to be entertained and have a great time.
So are you one of those guys that when you go home at night, like you pull out your secret stash of comics you've been saving all month and haven't read yet and get in your recliner and just look?
Well, you know, now I can. While I made the movie, all my time was spent making the movie. Yeah. But I bought a lot of comic books and, you know, used comic books as research, and it was great. And I still love reading them. And I sit in my room, and my wife, you know, she goes crazy because I spend a lot of my money on comic books.
We're so glad you came by. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Go to your phone, call the number at the bottom of your screen, pledge your support to WQED, get some great thank you gifts. We're so glad Molly and Mark and I were here, Mike, we're here in the studio tonight. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to call the number on your screen right now.
Hurry up.